Logan Hart didn't expect his entire day to fall apart by noon, but there he was, shirt damp from the rain, wallet empty except for a crumpled dollar. His 5-year-old daughter curled up asleep on his lap at a freezing, half-deserted train station. He blew into his hands, trying to warm them. "Just a little longer, Camila," he whispered, brushing a curl from her cheek. She stirred but didn't wake. The train was supposed to come an hour ago. No updates, no announcements, just the sound of flickering lights and the occasional cough from the old man across the platform. He adjusted the strap of her pink backpack on his shoulder, the one with the broken zipper he'd fixed with a safety pin. He was supposed to have taken her to her grandmother's house in Jersey. Instead, they were stuck, waiting for a train that didn't seem to care about people like him. "Rough day," the voice came from his right, soft, curious. He turned. She was sitting 2 benches down, legs crossed, holding a coffee cup between gloved hands. Her coat looked expensive, camel-colored wool, and her boots had heels that didn't belong in this part of the city. But she didn't have that look people had when they were trying not to make eye contact with strangers. "Something like that," he said, giving a tired half-smile. "Train's late. We've been here a while," she nodded. "I noticed. I've been here since 12. Logan checked his watch. "It was almost 4. "You've been waiting too," she smiled. "Seems like we're both stuck." He looked at her again. She didn't look annoyed or impatient. If anything, she looked interested, not in a weird way, just present. Most people didn't make small talk with a guy like him. Especially not women dressed like they walked out of a magazine. "I'm Logan," he said after a beat, "and this is Camila. She's out cold." The woman's eyes softened as she glanced at his daughter. "She's beautiful. I'm Odessa Kane. Nice to meet you," he said. "You waiting for the same train?" "Yes," she answered, sipping her coffee. "I was supposed to catch a car service, but I canceled it. I needed quiet. Thought the train would give me space to think." Logan chuckled. "Well, you definitely got time." Odessa shifted closer, her coffee cradled in her hands like it was the only warmth in the room. "You live around here, Brooklyn, but not the fancy side," Logan said. "Took some side jobs this morning, but the last one bailed on payment. I was supposed to drop Camila off at my mom's, then head to a night shift. That's not happening now." She looked at him for a moment. "You're doing all that on your own?" "Yeah," he said, adjusting Camila's coat. "Her mom left when she was 2. It's just us now." Odessa's expression didn't change, but something passed behind her eyes, something like understanding or pain. "I'm sorry," he shrugged. "We're doing okay. Some days are harder than others." She leaned her head back against the bench, watching the flickering lights above. "You seem like a good dad." He didn't know how to respond to that. No one had told him that in years. "I try," he said quietly. They sat in silence for a minute. Then Odessa turned to him. "You hungry?" He blinked. "Sorry, there's a vending machine over there. I saw it earlier. Let me get you both something." "You don't have to. I know I don't," she said, standing. "But I want to." Before he could argue, she walked off. Logan watched her go, frowning. She didn't walk like someone trying to impress, more like someone used to getting things done. She returned a few minutes later with water, 2 sandwiches, and a chocolate bar. "Hope she likes peanut butter," Odessa said, handing over the wrapped sandwich. "She'll love it," Logan said, taking it with a grateful nod. "Thanks." Odessa smiled and sat again, quiet for a moment as if debating something. Then she asked, "What do you want, Logan?" He looked at her, surprised. "Like, in life?" She nodded. He glanced at Camila, then back at Odessa. "I want to give her more, a better home, a backyard. A school where the windows aren't cracked. I don't need a mansion, I just want her to feel safe, and maybe not feel so alone doing it." Odessa's eyes stayed on his. For a second, he thought she might cry. But then she just said, "That's a beautiful answer." He swallowed the lump forming in his throat. "What about you?" She hesitated. "I used to think I wanted power, control. Now I'm not so sure. Lately I think I just want someone real." Their eyes locked for a second, longer than necessary. Camila stirred in his arms. "Daddy," she mumbled sleepily. "I'm here, sweetheart," Logan whispered, kissing her forehead. Odessa smiled at the tenderness in his voice. The speaker above them crackled. "Attention passengers, the 4:15 express to Jersey City has been canceled. Please see station personnel for alternate routes." Logan groaned. "Of course." "I have a driver," Odessa said suddenly. He looked at her. She pulled out her phone and tapped the screen. "I can have him here in 20 minutes. You don't have to do that." "I know," she said again, her eyes steady on his, "but I want to." "Why?" She hesitated. "Because you're the first honest thing I've run into in a long time." He stared at her, unsure what to say. Then Camila sat up, rubbing her eyes. "Daddy, who's that?" "This is Odessa," Logan said. "She's helping us." Odessa knelt beside Camila with a warm smile. "Hi, Camila, I brought you a sandwich." Camila looked at her, then at her dad. "Is she nice?" "The nicest," Logan said softly. The driver arrived 20 minutes later in a sleek black car that looked like it belonged in a movie. Logan hesitated before getting in. "You sure about this?" he asked. "Completely," Odessa replied. He climbed in, Camila on his lap. Odessa sat beside them, her arm resting near his, their shoulders brushing as the car pulled away from the station. And for the first time in a long time, Logan felt something he hadn't in years: hope. Logan stood just inside the glass doors of the tall building, his hand resting gently on Camilla's shoulder as she turned in circles, marveling at the marble floor beneath her boots. The lobby was silent, but for the occasional ding of an elevator and the soft hum of classical music playing overhead. He'd never set foot in a place like this. Hell, he hadn't even known this part of the city had buildings that looked like museums inside. "You're sure we're in the right place?" he asked Odessa as she approached the security desk. She turned to him, tucking a curl behind her ear. "Positive." "I thought it would be easier to drop you both here. I have a meeting upstairs." Camila tugged at Logan's coat. "Daddy, look, the floor is shiny like ice." Logan crouched beside her. "Careful, Munchkin, don't slip." Odessa spoke briefly with the concierge, then returned. "There's Coco on the 25th floor. If you don't mind waiting in the lounge, I'll be done in 20 minutes. There's a view of the whole city from up there." He hesitated. "You don't have to do all this." "I know," she said, her tone even, "but I want to." He didn't argue. Instead, he followed her into the elevator, Camila skipping ahead of them, fascinated by the buttons. As they rode upward, Logan watched Odessa's reflection in the mirrored panel. Her expression had shifted, focused, almost unreadable, like something had clicked. "Does this have anything to do with that thing you needed space to think about?" he asked. She glanced at him, then gave a small nod. "Yes and no. I'm not hiding anything bad if that's what you're worried about." "I wasn't accusing you," he replied. "Just curious." When the elevator opened, they stepped into a lounge that looked like it belonged in a 5-star hotel. Plush chairs, a fireplace flickering behind glass, and floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a sprawling view of the skyline. Camila gasped and ran to the glass. Odessa touched Logan's arm gently. "I'll be back soon." He nodded, watching her disappear through a glass door down the hall. Camila pressed her palms to the window. "Daddy, we're in the sky. We're pretty close to it," he said, chuckling as he walked over. A staff member approached, dressed in a sleek black uniform. "Would you like something to drink? We have cocoa, tea, or juice." Logan opened his mouth to decline, but Camila jumped in. "Cocoa, please." The woman smiled and disappeared through a side door. He picked up one of the magazines from the table but didn't read a word. His thoughts were still on Odessa, how she carried herself, the way she looked at him like he wasn't just some guy trying to stay afloat. Camila climbed into one of the chairs, legs tucked beneath her. "She's really nice." "Do you think she has a dog?" He laughed softly. "I don't know, maybe. I hope it's a big one." The staff member returned with a tray 2 mugs, each topped with whipped cream and cinnamon sticks. Camila grinned like it was Christmas morning. She took a sip and let out a loud, satisfied sigh. "This tastes like clouds." Logan raised his cup in a silent toast. "To clouds." She giggled and clinked her mug against his. They sipped in peace for a few minutes before the glass door opened again. Odessa reappeared, coat draped over her arm, her expression unreadable again. "You're back fast," Logan said. "I canceled the meeting," she replied, walking over to them. He frowned. "Wasn't it important?" She shrugged. "Not anymore." Camila jumped up. "Can we go to the window again?" "Sure," Logan said, watching her dash off. Then he turned to Odessa. "That meeting was here, wasn't it?" She nodded. "This isn't just a lounge, is it?" "No," she said, taking a seat beside him. "It's mine." There was a beat of silence. "You own this floor, I own the building," she said quietly. "And the company in it." Logan blinked. "Wait, so you're..." A billionaire, she finished. Yes, he stared at her, his mug forgotten. You picked me up off a train platform in the middle of nowhere. Why? Her eyes didn't flinch. Because I needed to remember what it felt like to talk to someone who didn't want anything from me, and you were kind. Honest, you didn't look at me like I was a prize or a threat or a name on a list. He leaned back in his chair, digesting her words. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, she replied. I just thought you deserved to know. I didn't want to lie. Logan looked toward Camila, who was spinning slowly in front of the window again, arms out like wings. My life's not easy, he said slowly. I don't have much, and I can't offer anything close to your world. I didn't ask for that, she replied. Do you know what I saw when you wrapped your coat around your daughter's feet? I saw someone who shows up. That's more than I've gotten from most people in my life. He turned his head, met her eyes. They were steady, unwavering. Why are you telling me all this? He asked. Because I want to know if you'll let me in, she said. Into your world, even just a little. He studied her for a long moment, then gave a slow nod. If you're sure. I'm sure. Camila skipped back over, cocoa mustache on her upper lip. Can she come with us to Grandma's? Logan laughed. We'll see, kiddo. Odessa glanced at her watch. It's getting late. Let me take you both home. He hesitated. It's not exactly a straight shot from here. I know, she said, rising. But I don't mind the detour. As they left the building and stepped into the crisp evening air, Logan glanced sideways at her. So what now? She looked at him with calm certainty. Now. We see where this goes. The next morning, Logan stood at the sink of his apartment, rinsing a chipped bowl as the early sun slipped through the slats of the blinds. Camila sat at the tiny table behind him, coloring a picture of a lion wearing a crown. The heat clicked on with a groan, rattling the old pipes, and somewhere upstairs, a dog barked twice before going quiet again. Daddy, can I give this to her? Camila asked without looking up. To who? To Odessa. He dried his hands on a towel. You want to give her a lion. She looks like someone who needs a lion. A nice one. He didn't argue. Instead, he poured himself the last of the coffee, staring into the mug like it held answers he wasn't sure he wanted. A knock at the door made him turn, startled. No one ever came by unannounced. He opened it cautiously. Odessa stood in jeans and a navy sweater, her hair pulled back into a low twist. No makeup. No driver, just her, holding a paper bag in one hand and a coffee tray in the other. I hope you like croissants, she said. He blinked. How did you even find this place? You gave me the street name last night. I figured it out. She lifted the bag slightly. I brought raspberry jam too, just in case. He stepped aside and she entered, glancing around without judgment. The living room doubled as a bedroom, Camila's drawings taped to the walls. There was no TV. The couch had a tear in the cushion, but everything was clean, cared for. Hi, Camila, she said, placing the bag on the table. Camila grinned. I drew you a lion. Odessa's eyes lit up as the little girl handed her the paper. He's magnificent. He protects good people, Camila said matter-of-factly. Odessa crouched beside her. Then I'll keep him close. Logan watched them, arms crossed, unsure what to do with the warmth creeping into his chest. I didn't expect you to show up here, he said finally. I couldn't stop thinking about you, she replied, standing. Both of you, he gestured toward the coffee. You didn't have to bring anything. I didn't want to show up empty-handed, she lowered her voice. And I didn't want to give you time to talk yourself out of this. This, me, us, whatever it is we're walking into. Camila tugged on Logan's sleeve. Can she stay all day? He glanced at Odessa, who stepped in before he could answer. I was hoping you'd both come with me, she said. There's a fall festival in the next town over. Hay rides, caramel apples, face painting. I thought it might be fun. Logan raised an eyebrow. You're not exactly the hayride type. Maybe I've been missing out. He looked at Camila, who was already bouncing in her chair. Can we, Daddy, please? I have a shift tonight, he said, hesitating. Odessa stepped closer. What if I cover it? You don't even know what it is. Does it matter? He met her gaze. I don't want you throwing money at me. I'm not. Her voice softened. I'm offering time. That, more than anything, made him crack. He turned to Camila. Go get your shoes, kiddo. She bolted toward the bedroom. On the drive out of the city, Odessa let Camila control the playlist from the backseat. Logan hadn't expected her to drive herself, much less in a dusty Jeep that smelled faintly of lavender and leather. She navigated traffic like someone used to weaving through chaos, one hand on the wheel, the other tapping along to the beat. They reached the festival grounds by noon. It was everything Odessa had promised: pumpkin patches, food stalls, bright orange leaves spinning through the air like confetti. Camila ran ahead, chasing a group of kids toward the petting zoo. "You okay with this?" Logan asked as they walked behind her. She nodded. More than okay. He watched her as she bought tickets, helped Camila climb onto a pony, and laughed when a goat tried to eat her scarf. She didn't flinch at the mud, didn't complain when her boots got dirty, and didn't check her phone once. Later, as Camila had her face painted with glittering stars and moons, Logan and Odessa wandered toward a quiet stretch of trees at the edge of the fairgrounds. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. She didn't pretend not to understand. "Because I want to, and because I haven't felt this grounded in years." He shoved his hands into his pockets. "I don't fit in your world. Maybe that's exactly why I need you." He looked away, staring at a pile of leaves blowing across the path. "You could be with anyone." "I don't want anyone," she said. "I want someone who sees me, and you do." He turned to her, emotions warring behind his eyes. "I'm used to people leaving. I'm not leaving. You say that now. Then let me prove it." He didn't answer right away. Then, slowly, he nodded. They rejoined Camila, who had now acquired a balloon shaped like a unicorn. Odessa bought them all cotton candy, and they sat on a hay bale eating it, fingers sticky and smiles easy. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting everything in gold, Logan looked over at Odessa. Her head was tilted back, laughing at something Camila had said. In that moment, he knew. This wasn't just kindness. It was something deeper. And it was only just beginning. The wind carried the scent of pine and chimney smoke as Logan stepped onto the rooftop terrace, the city skyline glittering behind him like a sea of stars. Camila's soft laughter echoed from inside, where she and Odessa's housekeeper, a woman named Mora, who had greeted them with warm cocoa and a tray of fresh muffins, were curled up watching a holiday movie. The terrace doors had been left open, letting the warmth of the penthouse spill out into the crisp dusk. He found Odessa leaning against the balcony's edge, her arms folded, gaze fixed on the horizon. She didn't turn as he approached, but the corner of her lips curved just slightly when she sensed him beside her. "I didn't know this view existed," he said, tucking his hands into the pockets of his borrowed coat. "It's like the city looks softer from up here." "It does," she replied. "Everything looks different when you're not fighting to survive it." He studied her profile. Her expression was still, but her eyes were shadowed, focused on something far away, something she hadn't said yet. "What's wrong?" she exhaled slowly. "My father offered me control of one of the international branches, Tokyo. It's a major step up, a move that would change the entire structure of the company." "Sounds like a big deal." "It is, and I told him no." He blinked. "Why?" "Because I don't want to build something I don't believe in anymore." She turned to face him fully now. "At the station, I was on my way to tell him I was done, that I wanted out, but I didn't know what I'd be walking away to. You changed that." His throat tightened. "Odessa, you don't owe me anything." "I know," she said, "but I've spent years surrounded by people who only spoke in contracts and expectations. You reminded me what it feels like to choose something for the right reasons." "You're not afraid?" "I am," she admitted. "But I'm more afraid of waking up 10 years from now and realizing I built an empire that never felt like home." He stepped closer, the city wind tugging at his sleeves. "So what do you want to build?" Her voice dropped. "Something that matters. Something real." They stood in silence for a moment, the city humming below. Then she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out an envelope, pressing it into his hand. "What's this?" "An opportunity," she said. "There's a building in Brooklyn. It used to be a community center before the funding dried up. I bought it last week. I want to turn it into a co-op space, childcare, after-school programs, job training, a place for people like us. I want you to run it." His heart stuttered. "I fix sinks and sweep floors, Odessa. I'm not qualified to run anything." "You are," she said, eyes fierce. "You've been doing it for years. Managing life, holding everything together with duct tape and grit. That's what leadership is, showing up even when it's hard." He opened the envelope slowly. Inside was a proposal already drafted. His name filled the top line. "You believe I can do this. I know you can." He looked up, swallowing hard. "You're not just giving me a job, you're giving me a future." "You gave me something first," she said. "You gave me hope without asking for anything in return." Behind them, the terrace doors opened. Camila appeared in the doorway, wearing a fuzzy blanket like a cape. "Daddy, come see. Mora made popcorn with chocolate." He turned, his voice thick. "I'll be right there, sweetheart." She rushed back inside, her cape fluttering behind her. Odessa smiled. "She's everything good in the world." "She is," Logan said, "and I want her to grow up knowing that people can change their stars." "Then let's change them together," Odessa said softly. He took a breath, looked down at the proposal again, then back at her. "If I say yes, this isn't just a project. This is my life. I'm counting on that." He stepped closer. "Then yes." Relief flickered through her like sunlight. "Good." The next few weeks passed in a blur of renovation plans, community meetings, and long nights spent drafting blueprints on Odessa's kitchen island while Camila built pillow forts in the living room. Logan never asked how much Odessa was funding. She never offered a number. But the work was real, the progress tangible. And every choice was made as a team. On a quiet December morning, the center opened its doors. Camila stood at the ribbon with oversized scissors in her mittened hands, Odessa beside her, Logan's arm resting protectively at her back. Dozens of families poured inside. Children squealed as they discovered the reading nook, parents signed up for workshops, and volunteers passed out hot cider. The building buzzed with life. As the sun broke through the frosted windows, Logan stepped outside for air. Odessa followed, her gloved hand sliding into his. "Do you ever stop and think about how strange it is we met because of a delayed train?" she asked. "I think about it every day," he said, "and every day it makes more sense." She leaned into him, her head resting on his shoulder. "I've never been more sure of anything," she whispered. He tilted his face toward hers. "I love you, Odessa," her breath caught. "I love you too," Camila called from the doorway, waving them back in. "They're doing crafts, hurry," Logan laughed and offered his hand. Odessa took it, and together they walked inside. Not into a penthouse or a business meeting or a world of polished things that didn't matter, into something better, into a life they'd built by choice. A life that was real. And this time they weren't waiting for anything. They had already arrived. The winter gala shimmered with gold light and polished crystal, held in the grand ballroom of the Whitmore Hotel, where floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the frozen river below. Logan adjusted the cuffs of his dark navy suit as he stepped into the space, Camila's small hand tucked into his. She wore a silver dress with tiny stars embroidered into the skirt, and her curls had been braided into a crown on her head. She looked like something out of a fairy tale. "Do I look like a princess?" she whispered, glancing up at him. He smiled. "You look better than a princess." Odessa descended the staircase across the room, and Logan's breath caught. She wore a deep emerald gown that hugged her curves and flowed behind her like a trail of silk ivy. Her hair had been swept into an elegant twist, and a delicate diamond at her throat caught the glow of the chandeliers. She locked eyes with him across the room, and everything else disappeared. Camila tugged at his jacket. "You should tell her she looks like a queen." "I was just about to." Odessa reached them and crouched down first, her full attention on Camila. "You take my breath away, starlight." Camila beamed. "You look like a forest fairy." Odessa laughed, then straightened and turned to Logan. "You clean up well." "I didn't know I owned a suit until this arrived with a note that said wear this. No arguments." She raised an eyebrow. "You followed instructions. I'm proud." He leaned in. "I don't know how you keep surprising me." "Then you're not paying attention." A formal voice called the room to attention. The gala was in full swing, a fundraiser hosted by Odessa's company for the launch of the community initiative they'd been building together for over a month now. Instead of investors and hedge fund managers, the guest list included local families, teachers, small business owners, and leaders from neighborhoods most often overlooked. Odessa took the stage to introduce the evening. Logan watched her speak about rebuilding trust between power and people, about how the most valuable investments were made in people who'd been told their worth could be measured in numbers. She didn't mention her title or her fortune. She didn't need to. The room was already listening. Later, as the music swelled and couples filled the dance floor, Logan waited by the edge, unsure. He hadn't danced in years, not since high school, and never in a ballroom with violinists playing on a raised platform. Odessa appeared at his side, brushing her fingers lightly against his. "May I?" He hesitated. "I might embarrass you. I dare you to try." He took her hand and she led him out. They moved slowly, her rhythm guiding his. She rested her hand on his shoulder and he wrapped his arm around her waist, warm and steady. "Do you remember the first thing you said to me?" she asked. He thought for a moment. "Something like that," she nodded. "I remember thinking you had no idea how much you were about to change my life." He looked down at her, eyes serious. "I didn't know what to make of you. You were wearing $1,000 boots and offering me vending machine snacks like it was the most normal thing in the world. I didn't know how else to reach you. You didn't have to try that hard." "I did," she said, "because I wasn't just trying to help you. I was trying to find a reason to believe in something again." He stopped moving, pulling her closer. "Do you believe in it now?" She touched the side of his face, fingertips gentle. "With everything I am." Camila waved from the edge of the dance floor, holding a paper crown someone had given her. Logan motioned her over and she ran to them, laughing. Odessa knelt and placed the crown on Camila's head. "All hail the Queen of Glitter." Camila giggled, then looked up at Logan. "Are you going to marry her?" Odessa's breath caught. Logan's eyes widened. Camila blinked innocently. "I think you should." Odessa crouched to match Camila's height. "Why's that?" "Because you make Daddy look happy and you bring waffles." Logan crouched beside them. "That's a strong case." Odessa looked between them, something tender blooming behind her eyes. "I'm not asking for tonight," he said, taking her hand. "But I'm asking if we can build something that lasts, all of us, together." She squeezed his hand. "That's the only thing I want." Camila clapped. "Can we get a puppy too?" Odessa laughed, her whole face lighting up. "Only if I get to name it." The rest of the evening passed in a blur of music and warmth. Logan and Odessa danced again, this time with Camila twirling between them. They didn't talk about titles or companies or mistrains. They just existed in that space between what was and what could be. Weeks passed, and winter turned its sharp edges into something gentler. The center thrived. Children filled the halls with laughter, and Logan found himself at the heart of something bigger than he ever imagined, his hands shaping a future not just for Camila, but for so many others. Odessa kept showing up, not just in meetings or gala dresses, but in quiet mornings, in paint-splattered t-shirts while organizing supply closets, in Saturday afternoons spent helping Camila learn to ride a bike in the park. She didn't drop in with grand gestures anymore. She simply stayed. One spring afternoon, Logan waited outside the center, a small box in his hand. The sun was warm, the air full of the promise of change. Odessa arrived, sunglasses perched on her head, and he met her on the steps. "What's this?" she asked, eyeing the box. He opened it to reveal a simple silver ring, delicate and understated. "I want to spend every day with you," he said. "Not because we fell into it, not because things got easy, but because I choose you, over and over." A breeze stirred the curls at her temples. "Are you asking me to marry you?" "I'm saying we already built the house. Maybe it's time we put our names on it." She kissed him before he could say another word. Camila burst out of the center doors moments later, running toward them with paint on her cheeks and one shoelace undone. "Did you ask her?" she shouted. Logan stood and held Odessa's hand. "I did." "Did she say yes?" Odessa nodded. "She did." Camila threw her arms around both of them. "We're a real family now." Odessa looked down at her. "We always were." And so, in the place they'd built with love and purpose, under skies that no longer felt unreachable, they stood as something whole, not a fairy tale, something better, home.